Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, NRL race fans the world over. Welcome to round one of the NRL's fifth season. My name is Toon, and I am accompanied, as always, by two extraordinary gentlemen, Slow-Mo and Leo. Slow-Mo, we're here. Our fifth season together is officially underway. How are you feeling?
I am absolutely just excited for this week. Both races I would really love to be a part of, but I think they're going to be quite interesting and exciting to watch here from the booth. So I'm really pumped for these races today.
Outstanding to hear that. Couldn't agree more. Leo, it's round one, so we are officially back in the saddle here. How do you feel?
Toon, I'm always excited as usual. I'm really excited for these upcoming races. I mean, we've got the Daytona Tri-Oval, we've got the Death Chicane, and both in honestly overpowered cars, and I can't wait to see how these guys try to get around at least one of the tracks. They're going to go left on one of them a lot, so they don't have to worry about turns. But I am quite excited to see how they all pan out.
All right, yeah, I got you. Now, before we get into the race details, we would like to give a special thanks to our sponsors. We here at the NRL would like to extend a special thank you to our first sponsor, Hankey's Tavern in beautiful St. Louis, Missouri, who has been airing our broadcasts live every Saturday since, I believe, Season 3. So if you're in the area, then stop on by and tell them that Toon, Leo, and Slow-Mo sent you. Hankey's Tavern. If you ain't first, we're open till 1 a.m. We'd also like to welcome aboard and give a special thank you to Little J CPA for sponsoring the NRL. To all of you in the US, tax time is here and it's going to be leaving before you know it. So if you have any tax needs that need met or just need the books balanced, then go no further than Little J CPA. They'll make your tax woes go away. Now, without further ado, let's get into the standings from last week's pre-qualifying session. So, we'll be covering the Friday section since this is the Friday broadcast, and the top 14 you see here have qualified for Division A. So, qualifying first overall for Friday was Chief Apollo with a staggering 117.286, but very, very close behind him was Subi 15 with a 117.319. Carrying on the 117 train will be Bobajito with a 117.425, rounding out our top three, followed by Jorge Sr. and PHG Rick Shear, rounding out P4 and 5 respectively, followed by PHG Papa with a 117.636, and Darkin Asriel very close behind with a 117.704. Going on down the order, we have Talon in P8, followed by Fast Cougar in P9 with I'll get it right eventually, Alicos, I believe, rounding out our top 10, followed by Detrue Serum, Lagtastics, Deputy Fishtail, and RSR Ace, rounding out our Division A placers for last week. Going on into Division B, we have Jesser, or Jay Sr., leading the charge for Division B with a 118.389, followed by Corridor 71, who was very close behind with a 118.425. Making our way down the grid, we have Angry Fredbird rounding out our top three for Division B, followed by Z48 Car 88 and RSR Zilla. Going on down the order, we also have Sugar Shuffles, followed by Stumpy, PHG Shaggy Doo, Arnax, PHG Mr. Ormond, rounding out our top 10, followed by PHG Strict 9, Beef Castle, Crewlup, and BHR's Fernando Button. Now to get into the race details for Division B. So, our drivers will be going over to the Sunshine State of Florida at the world-famous Daytona International Raceway. Our drivers will be driving 35 laps of this historic track in the 4GT LM Race Car Spec 2. They'll be able to use racing hards, mediums, and softs with no requirements. They will have brake balance on and downforce tuning. There'll be a 5-minute qualifier with a rolling start, 3 times tire, 3 times fuel, and heavy damage. So these guys cannot afford to make a mistake. Now, for all of you wondering, with all that being said, how are the points going to work? Well, look no further as we go over to the beautiful slow-mo to explain how it works. Take it away, buddy.
Thank you, Toon. So what the drivers are doing is they're trying to accrue enough points to get themselves into the finals. So for tonight's race, the winner of the race is going to get 25 points. Second place gets 18, third place 15, and as you can see, those points go down the lower you finish in the grid. They can also get bonus points if they get a fastest lap in tonight's race for an extra point to that. So again, they're trying to accrue enough points to get themselves a position in that coveted final.
Thank you, Slow-Mo. Now, with that said, let's go take a look at our drivers for this race. We will have Angry Fredbird, Arnax, Beef Castle, BHR's Fernando Button, Corridor 71, Jay Senior, Krulub, PhD Mr. Ormond, PhD Shaggy288, PhD Strict 9, RSR Zilla, Stumpy, Sugar Shuffles, and Z48 Car 88. Listed under their names are, of course, their team affiliations or free agency, whichever one is applicable, as well as their social media presences on YouTube and or Twitch, should those be applicable. Please feel free to go take a look at the channels listed right on the screen, and if you do, please make sure to leave our tab open and unmuted, that way you don't miss any of the racing action. All right, I'm just going to say, it wasn't a matter of if, but I guess when. We finally got an oval race. Slow-Mo, what do you think about it?
Oh, strategy. There's a couple different approaches these guys can take. You're going to potentially see a couple different tire compounds. I would imagine the majority of the group's going to try and run a one-stopper, but you never know. Somebody might do something different. Maybe we see a no-stopper. I don't know. But it's possible. Tonight could be a very exciting race.
That it could. And Leo, what are your thoughts? You're a big NASCAR guy.
Oh, of course, Toon. I mean, I'm ecstatic for this. I'm always down to do some oval racing. That is my bread and butter. That's what I love doing. Been around it since I was a kid. Yeah, we're going to see plenty of strategies, like Slow-Mo said, between tire compounds, when they're going to pit, how they're going to pit, who they're going to work with. I'm waiting to see how and who works together and what happens, and if the big one will happen.
We'll just have to wait and see. This is motorsport. Anything can happen. Anything will happen. And while we get into the qualifying session, I would like to give our thanks on behalf of the NRL to T-Case for the $10 super chat. More fun and cheaper than going out on Friday. Yeah, honestly, you're onto something there. So thank you for your support there, T-Case, you beautiful bearded man, you. Thank you to Pink Michi or Miche. I'm sorry, I must be mispronouncing that, for the $10 super chat. And also a thank you to Cyrus Nicky for the $6.99 Canadian. So thank you to everybody who has super chatted so far. Your support goes right into the pool for the drivers, the producers, the hosts like the six of us that you see on Friday and Saturday, and the stewards. So every little bit helps, and we thank you all for your support. And feel free to just show your love by sharing the broadcast, telling everybody, hey, come watch this racing. Come listen to these beautifully sounding commentators. Let the audio velvet just course through your soul.
That's right.
But anyway, let's jump on board with RSR Zilla, who is about to start making a left turn. Yes, they're making a left turn. If anybody's seen the Jeff Dunham bit, you know exactly where this is going. But RSR Zilla is part of Team Real Squad Racing on a Moza R12 with the FSR Formula Wheel, qualified P19, and you can find him on YouTube at Zilla 2013. It is still amazing to me that somebody was able to get a Moza to work on the PlayStation, and I did learn from the lead commentator on Saturday, Flawed, that the number on each of the Moza wheels is the amount of force feedback they have. So that R12 has 12 Newton meters of force feedback, R5 has got 5, you get the point. But as we see RSR Zilla coming across the line, he will set a 51.528. And it looks like Corridor is gonna come on in. Oh, never mind. And has already been dethroned by Z48 with a 51.189. So, Leo, downforce is a factor here. So, if you were in this race right now, how would you have your downforce set up?
Yeah, so actually I would probably have it almost at the minimum. I still would want some, because when you're going into this banking, it doesn't look like much, but you need some downforce to actually keep the car on that low line or high line. Having zero would probably make it slide up the track and into the wall. So probably bare minimum that makes the car feel stable enough to go around here is what I would do. I did some testing earlier with it, and I just turned it up a little bit on both ends, but almost to the minimum, just to see what it did, and it felt amazing, and was able to follow the other car behind.
Okay, I gotcha. And Slomo, I believe you said you had done a lot of driving with these guys. How'd you have yourself set up?
I did. Now, granted, I did that before the most recent update that we saw come out, but I had my downforce turned all the way down. I ran in a lobby with 3 people. I stayed in the back and just rode the slip for the majority of the race. And honestly, I didn't have any problems. It was a lot of fun. It was pretty intense trying to stay, just playing it on the bumper in front of me. But I didn't have any issues without having that downforce. So maybe it's possible. That could change very quickly when you get into, a group with a lot of other cars around you. So I also didn't have anybody behind me, which would make an enormous difference.
Okay, well, that's good to know. And I do know the BOP change yesterday did make all of the Group 3 cars slower. So it's going to be interesting to see, the sort of shock that these drivers will have when they were practicing Wednesday. They're setting a specific time, and then they come in today and they're like, wait a minute, something's not right here. But as we jump on board with Sugar Shuffles, who is a lifelong free agent, not for the lack of trying on Leo's end, he is driving on the Logitech G29, qualified in P20, and you can find him on YouTube at Sugar Shuffles, where he does GT streams and also livery designs. Would highly recommend checking him out. And looks like Sugar Shuffles will be sitting on pole for the moment with a 50.190. That slipstream and that bump draft is a huge factor here. Looks like Z48, if for all intents and purposes, by right of succession, is P1 just because he's ahead of Sugar Shuffles, but qualifying doesn't work like that. Z48 is part of Team Infinite Octane Racing on the Fanatec DD Pro, qualified P18, and you can find him on YouTube at Zascar88. So I'm thinking he's a NASCAR fan with a name like that. So this might be a slight home field advantage for Z48 and all other NASCAR aficionados, like, the proprietor of PHG, who I heard is quite cross. He qualified in Division A just because of this race. And coming across the line, it looks like Z48 will not be able to get the last second pole position, but in the grand scheme of and Angry Fredbird with the last second pole position. Hang on there. What do we have here? A 49.996. Let's get a replay of that. All right, as we see Angry Fredbird on the start finish straight, just in Kulip's slipstream, and yep, just took it by almost 500ths of a second, and looks like NRL is definitely in full swing with these last minute upsets.
It's really going to be interesting to see. I think you're going to have people out here making new friends throughout tonight's race. They might not be your teammate, but if you're in their slip, take advantage of it as much as you can.
Yeah, I definitely think you might want to use it while you got it. So taking a look at the classified results, Angry Fredbird with the last second pole position walks away with a 49.996. Coming in P2 will be Krulov with a 50.045, so about 500ths of a second behind him. Rounding out our top 3 will be PHG Strict 9, followed by Sugar Shuffles. Z48 rounding out our top 5 with Fernando Button in P6 with a 50.475. And coming in at about 8,000ths of a second will be PHG Shaggy Doo 88, followed 2,000ths of a second behind him is PHG Mr. Ormond. Making our way down the order, we've got Corridor 71, followed by RSR Zilla, Arnax, Stumpy, Beef Castle, and Jay Sr. or Jesser, whichever one he prefers. So all in all, something tells me that is definitely going to be a big precursor here. So Fredbird is on pole. In normal races, great, fantastic. But Leo, you have some insight on the double-edged sword that is pole position in oval racing, and that would be?
That's usually the first person that gets taken out, unfortunately. One bump wrong into a corner, and you're going to be spinning for days and taking out other people. Hopefully, that is not the case here. Hopefully, these guys have been practicing their bump drafting and seeing which, who's going to work with who. But yeah, hopefully we don't see that first turn, first lap, because there is no cautions. So there's no reset of the field. They're going to keep on going.
Okay, so really, you want to be in a slipstream for most of this race then?
Yes, definitely. It does help to be out front, but you also got someone breathing down your neck 90% of the time. Coming into turn one, they could see that. They could try to get on the outside or the inside of you if you don't protect that inside line. And they're going to stick their nose in there and let you know that they're there. And either it's going to go great or go really bad.
Okay. Well, you see, if it was the road course, I can understand where you're coming from. Be like, somebody might capitalize on turn one because it is a hard braking zone and somebody could easily just, dive bomb up the inside or something. But I mean, this is an oval. Everybody's in the same car. So would you really be able to slingshot past somebody with just slipstream alone into turn one?
It's a possibility. I've seen a couple of races where that's actually the case. Maybe not turn one, lap one. Maybe turn two, or not turn two. I apologize. Lap two into turn one. It's a possibility because they've had that time to build up the speed, the momentum throughout the whole track to slingshot past that person.
Okay, I will pretend that I can comprehend the mechanics that go into just oval racing. I'm gonna take your word for it. Slow-mo, do you have anything to add on?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would add there is the drivers have been instructed that they cannot pass below the yellow line. So anything that they're going to do is likely going to have to be on the outside unless somebody gives up that inside line, and I just don't see that happening. So if they're going to make a pass, it's probably going to have to be around the outside.
Okay. So basically, it's going to be, if you want to pass, you kind of have to go on the high line if you're on the bank, or you just throw yourself into a less than ideal position.
Yeah, and honestly, when I ran test laps, I had a lot of trouble getting around the people in front of me if I didn't have, once I got out of the slip, you kind of slow down quite a bit. So it's not going to be easy.
Okay. All right, I don't know. The most experience I have with Daytona is watching the 24 Hours of Daytona and watching the Mazda MX-5 Cup at Daytona. And I know in the MX-5 Cup, it's bump draft city, and you could see somebody try and get an overtake done, but they'll misjudge, not have the overspeed. And since everybody's right there on top of each other, they're losing 5, 6, or 7 positions all because they miscalculated. So does that ring true for these 4 GTs?
I mean, it's a possibility, Tune. Yes, they are all in the same car. So, I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Slow-mo?
I defer to Tune's favorite statement. Anything can happen. These guys put in a lot of time preparing for this race. So if there is a way to get it done, they're likely have figured out how to do it. So it's going to be exciting to watch these guys grind it out.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be exciting, and I can't wait to pick everybody's brain when they we get our finishers and we get our podium finishers into the booth. I'm gonna hope somebody that finishes on the podium is a big NASCAR aficionado, so we can kind of see if they took any inspiration from, the things they do in real life and like tried to translate it into this game, because that would be an interesting thing to see is, say you're watching a race at like Laguna Seca or something, then you see somebody pull off some crazy stunt, somehow it works, and then it's the whole do not try this at home, kids, and somebody just goes into the next daily race where it's Laguna and they just absolutely send it and somehow just do a 1-to-1 recreation of it. So let's see if art can imitate life in this kind of race, because I don't know, I just do not know what to expect when it comes to a like full-on oval race, and so I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see how everything looks when we get into the actual race itself. That sound like a plan, you guys?
I think they're getting them lined up, so it is time to find out.
All right, sweet. Then let's go and get a look on track. Once again, this is a rolling start, so we'll just wait for everybody to kick off the starting line. They'll do the little heat the tires up, and then we will be off to the races for 35 laps of Daytona Tri-Oval. This is going to be an interesting one. Ford GT LM Race Car Spec 2, based on, I thought, the GT40, but Leo, explain to the loving viewers at home what this car is.
So actually, this car is not a real car in real life. Yes, it does have a real life counterpart in the 2006 model Ford GT, but this is actually a collaboration with Gran Turismo in the fact of it's the GT 2006 model race car. So which redid it in this game as a race car, and same everything else.
Leo, I think you might be having some technical issues. I will come back to you in just a minute. But as we round up our first lap, looks like there has been no changes in the order. It looks like everybody's kind of starting to fall into place a little bit. Got everybody bunching up as they start making their way into turn one. Small pack seems to have formed off in the back, but I think with come on, Lord, Krulov and Stricknine go rally across it. Can they save? Oh, nice drift from Stricknine on that one. Can we possibly get a replay of what just transpired? Because two different guys at two different places, not like back to back, just completely lost it. Let's see here in Stricknine. Oh, I see. Oh, Lord.
Oh, no.
Well saved by Stricknine.
Yeah,
never
got
mind.
into the rear end of Krulov a little bit.
Yeah, that definitely appears to be the case. So, is it safe to say welcome to NASCAR?
Yeah. Anything can happen.
I mean, yep, anything can happen, anything will happen, and it is miraculous that Krulov had all of that drama, but no damage.
That's a good point. And I would imagine he's driving with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder after that. He's probably not real interested in having anybody behind him right now.
Yeah, I think, and we see some death.
Up to the wall.
Okay, hold on. We've got a lot going on here. We've got almost 4 abreast. We've got people in the wall. Okay, and Arnax is just sitting there with a bucket of popcorn getting just the front row seat to this. All right, and as we've got Arnax trying to send it up the outside on Shaggy, gets the overtake, but will it stick? We'll just have to wait and see. Slow-mo, while everybody is kind of readjusting themselves, can we get Shaggy gets a bit of a nudge onto the other side of Double Yellow. Could you enlighten me on to who's on what in terms of tires?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Zilla might be the only person on soft compound. I think everybody else is on hards. Strict 9 has gone into the pits. He had some damage. But yeah, everybody except Zilla is on the hard.
Oh, wow. I wonder what Zilla was thinking with the soft. Do you think maybe he forgot to change tires after qualifying?
That's what I was getting ready to say. I wonder if he just made a space and didn't get them changed.
All right. Well, as we jump on board with Corridor 71, who is a free agent, he is racing on the Logitech G Pro wheel, qualified P16, and you can find him on YouTube at Corridor 7110. And it looks like he just got the overtake on Shaggy, and will he get the overtake on Zilla? It looks like it. So Corridor gets a 2-for-1 special there, as we've got an entire Conga line of cars, and let's race. Race. Corridor may have gotten a little too brave on that one, and it looks like he will lose a bit of positioning to jump on board with Strict 9, who is trying to catch up to the pack at the moment. Still got plenty of racing action, so it's anybody's game. Anything can happen, anything will happen. This is the NRL, and now that I look behind Strict 9...
Oh, we got a little...
Oh, man.
Oh, somebody spun out.
We got one off. Slow-mo, who was that?
I'm looking. That was Fernando. He's currently in 12th, but I'm not sure exactly which position he was in before that.
All right, he was in P3, it would seem. Let's take a look at what happened. So we've got Fernando sugar shuffled, and it looks like he just lost control of the car. It looks like Shaggy tried to ride him, but it came crumbling down. That is an unfortunate turn of events for Fernando, but luckily...
Looked like he almost saved it right up there next to Shaggy, and then just kind of kept sliding a little bit, so that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I thought he honestly had it, but luckily we're only on lap 7 of 35, so we're only a fifth of the way into the race. And as we see Angry Fred Bird getting ready to go past the back marker in Strict 9, pit stops haven't came in yet. And we also do need to bear in mind the fuel issue. You may be on hards and everything, but that turns this immediately into a fuel saver race in a car that really isn't the best on fuel, all things considered. And Fred Bird, oh my lord, loses not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 6 positions in one bank. And okay, Leo, do people find this entertaining? This looks heartbreaking.
It looks like he was trying to go into the pits, so he tried to either switch up the tires or get fuel and try to run to the end of the race. Is what it looked like. So he was trying to get out of the slipstream, that way he wouldn't wreck anybody going into the pits.
But Zilla, yes, good save, Zilla. Okay, so. Oh, come on.
Oh, he got reset. What happened?
Let's take a look. So, just lost control, but
oh yeah, he got down on the apron.
Look at that car control. Masterfully done. World-class talent here at the NRL, folks. We have a different breed of drivers. Amazing saves so far, and fantastic work from Zilla.
Yeah, I think the reset's the most tragic piece of that, though. That was a great save. He probably could have got back in line, but boy, that reset put him to 0. Just sitting still.
He had to do a standing start, but luckily he is kind of in a bit of a fortunate position, only down in P9, so there's still definitely room to improve. And the pit stops haven't came in, and I do have to raise a question to you, Slow-Mo, since, Fred Bird's your brother and everything. Why did he hit so early to get fuel and get his one stop out of the way?
That's a question I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to follow up and find out. I don't know exactly what the approach was with that. Even if you're going to do a one stop, you think you're going to space it out a little bit closer to the middle of the race. So not 100% sure what happened.
All right, it looks like Stumpy is trying to find some way to get around Sugar Shuffles at the moment. Kind of poking his nose, maybe trying to serpentine away around. I'm not sure, but the bump drafts are coming in, so the front 3 are definitely going to start breaking off into their own little peloton unless Corridor can stay in that slipstream. as they are rounding to go across the start-finish line yet again. Let's see how this is going to shape up. Stumpy is... Oh, wow, Corridor is way closer than I thought. And Stumpy tries to go for the overtake. Didn't have enough for the overspeed, though. It's not looking like it, but it looks like they might slowly be pulling away from Corridor at the moment. The importance on the slipstream cannot be understated. Wow, Stumpy is really, like, wiggling around there. I don't know. Not familiar with, I don't know. I'm just not familiar with oval racing, so everything about this looks foreign to me. All I know is Ross Chastain, Wall Road, and it's a crasher sport. So, I don't know.
Yeah, and Jim, as we're looking at Corridor, one thing to notice is his fuel is down below a half a tank there. So you would imagine he's going to have to plan a pit stop at some point in time. As I'm kind of going through the grid, he's one of the lower guys on there. So all that work he was doing to get around some of those folks early on in the race cost a lot of fuel.
Yeah, that it did. As we jump on board with Jay Sr., who is currently behind Beef Castle. Looks like they're running just a little two-man rally here, maybe doing some bump drafting and everything, trying to catch up to some other cars. It's only lap 12 of 35. Jay Sr. is a free agent driving on a Fanatec DD Peru, qualified P15, and you can find him on Twitch at Jay Sr. or Jesser. Now let's see. So Jay Sr. and Beef Castle are about 13 seconds behind P1 and Shaggy Doo at the moment. I'm trying to just mentally calculate how many laps it would take to actually catch back up if they maintain this current posture. Oh, what do we have here? Looks like Corridor was shaken off, and is Stumpy going to be able to get the overtake? Nope. Looks like he jumped the gun a tiny bit, so he gets right back behind Sugar Shuffles. So let's see what is going to happen next. As we also have a picture-in-picture view of P5 in RNX for all of you watching at home. Looks like Stumpy's not going to be able to get around Sugar Shuffles at any point in the near future. So, and he's also sitting on a quarter of a tank of fuel. Now, Leo with the slipstream, with the fuel burn, and all these other factors into consideration, and the refueling rate, which we didn't touch on, it is definitely not the fastest. How pivotal would it be to time your pit stop right?
Tune is the most important thing. It's like guessing when your opponent's going to go in versus when you're going to go in. That's the most important thing. Guessing when you're goes in versus when you're going to go in.
Thank you, Leo. So we jump on over with Beef Castle, who appears to have been overtaken by Jay Sr. I do gotta say, I do kind of like the livery on Beef Castle's GT. It's a nice Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. They're at America's track and America's car. So yeah, USA, baby, USA. Looks like Beef Castle might be trying to set up an overtake, or maybe just trying to get out of some dirty air at the moment. I guess the Beef Castle also put hydraulics in the car, which, nice touch. America's car enhancement while we're at it. So it would appear that, it honestly appears that Shaggy Doo and Sugar Shuffles and Stumpy have found a way to just really break off from the rest of the field for the time being. Now,
they stayed out of trouble, right? I mean, they didn't get caught up in any of that chaos that was going on. It looks like they're just, they're running their race. Although now as I'm looking at the field and kind of the way it's spaced out, I'm wondering if Fredbird was trying to work an undercut on these guys.
How do you undercut a fuel saver?
Great question. Let's see what happens. But that's kind of what I'm thinking. I mean, these guys are going to have to be going into the pits. I'm wondering if he's got enough fuel to make it to the end of the race on that track.
Well, I mean, we also didn't touch on fuel mapping because, I mean, these guys could definitely be running on different fuel maps as a way to try and conserve some fuel. I would assume, the front runners, whoever winds up in first, might want to, crank the fuel map up just to mitigate some of this, because being in first and not having another car ahead of you to cut the air and make the wind resistance against your car, less, it would definitely burn through more fuel. And I also see Shaggy and I see Sugar Shuffles, but I don't see a Stumpy. Oh, nope, there he is. Hi, Stumpy.
He's right there in tow.
Yep, there he is. I also want to throw out that Corridor at the moment has the fastest lap with a 49.799, but good lord, at what cost? Look at that fuel tank. Oh, Corridor, you're going to have to really consider boxing. And will he? He does. Okay, fantastic. Now, Slow-Mo, is this a long pit stop, like, fuel notwithstanding?
It is,
Ooh,
yeah. I mean,
it was hurting.
If you take a full tank of fuel and a set of tires, it's probably about 50 seconds. So, I mean, basically a lap.
Oh, good heavens. Yeah, that is, that is not ideal. So yeah, one wrong pit stop could really cost you. But since we have to wait for everybody to take their pit stops, it's also going to be interesting to see how this field stacks back up towards the tail end once all the pit stops are done. Because you said most people are going to do a one-stopper, yeah?
That would be my guess. Seeing them go in right about now.
I'm sorry, Slow-Mo. I noticed that Sugar Shovels had 0 fuel. Ooh.
The point I was going to make is you see them all coming in here at the 18-19 lap mark. That will, that'll give them enough fuel to get through the rest of the race. So, unless there's damage or something unexpected that happens from here on out, I can't imagine you're going to see too many other people do it.
All right, and as we are at about the halfway point, it looks like Fredbird is just under half a tank of fuel, so will that be enough? I know toward the tail end of the race, he's probably going to start sweating bullets because unless he cranks the fuel map up or something, I don't know. And Fredbird flies right on by Sugar Shuffle, so he'll take P3. But he also still has to contend with Shaggy Doo and Arnax. So he's definitely not out of the woods yet. But if Fredbird does find a way to hop into first and maintain first, with everything that being first entails, we might have seen some genius track knowledge or some genius race IQ, I should say, because he would have pulled the undercut of the century. And it looks like Shaggy is the net lead at the moment because Arnax still has to pit. And Angry Fredbird is definitely just really crawling up on Shaggy like he's standing still. And will Fredbird get across? It doesn't appear so quite yet. But we got 2 wide racing. And with the rate that Fredbird is catching up to Shaggy, do you think Shaggy might just be on a different fuel map setting than the rest of the field there, Leo?
Yeah, I would think so, Toon. He would have to be. Maybe he's trying to save the fuel for the latter part of the race, just to see if he can hold out and maybe only do a one-stopper.
All right. Yeah, okay. It's going to be interesting to see how this shakes up because Shaggy Doo goes and takes P1. So we've got a 3-way bout for the race lead at the moment. Kind of curious to see how this is all going to transpire because there's just too many variables. And we've seen cars pull off some pretty good overtakes, and we've also seen some utter carnage. So it's just, what flavor do you want your car for this race? And Sugar Shuffles is about 3, almost 4 seconds behind P4 and Stumpy. He's got a second lead over Arnax, so it looks like everything's kind of mellow at the moment. We're on lap 21 to 35, and Krulov is actually in a very favorable position, and Fredbird and Krulov are going into the pits again. Is Slow-mo?
I guess they're running a two-stop. That's what it looks like to me.
I didn't expect it to. Is Strict 9? Well, oh wait, Strict 9 had to pit for the damage earlier, didn't he? Ooh, that really threw a wrench in the strategy. Okay. Well, yeah, this is definitely anybody's guess now. Anything can happen, anything will happen. A thing did happen. So,
A thing has happened for sure.
Things are thinging, yes. And it looks like Sugar Shuffles is still quite a ways away from Stumpy, but he does have Arnax right behind him to kind of give him a, bump it in the right direction. So, I don't know, just due to the nature of oval racing and the fact that this is one make, what is the likelihood of Sugar Shuffles and Arnax cooperating to where that they can catch up to Stumpy, Leo?
I mean, ooh, hold on. I just want to make sure they weren't going to hit Strict 9 coming out of the pits there. I gotta stop scaring me like that. I mean, you work with your enemy until you don't need them no more, essentially. That's what it all boils down to. They're going to bump and draft each other until they get to that, to Stumpy and Shaggy, and then they may split off and try to pass each other at the last second. So no pass in the grass and doing it for Dale.
I'm pretty sure passing the grass will be a penalty from the stewards, because wouldn't that technically be overtaking below the yellow line?
It would be. It definitely would be. Also, you'd be resetted. So there's that too.
Okay. Well, more I know. And it looks like Stumpy and Sugar Shuffles might be meeting sooner than I had anticipated, because Arnax and RJ are really cooperating right now. And it looks like Corridor might be able to catch up to Arnax if Strict 9 maybe allows himself to stay a back marker a little longer, just to try and potentially unlap himself from more cars. I don't quite know. But it looks like Strict 9 is definitely trying to cooperate with Corridor at the moment. PHG Strict 9 is part of Team Papa's House of Game on the Thrustmaster T598, qualified in 25th, and you can find him on YouTube at Marty Strickland 14G. So, all right. So, as we jump back on board with the front runner in Shaggy, who is getting a assist from Fernando Button at the moment. Very interesting to see how even the back marker is helping the race leader. Leo, could you possibly shed some insight?
Yeah, man. I've seen it in NASCAR all the time. You got your teammate, and yes, there's actual teammates in NASCAR. Depending on which driver you like, that will, if they're a lap behind and they see their teammate coming, they'll help them out. That doesn't mean... Oh, and we had an overtake for P11 by Fernando.
Okay, so... Well, I can't deny there are definitely more layers here in this race than I had originally anticipated when I saw it was an oval race, so... yeah, all right, fair enough. So as we jump on over with Stumpy, who is getting an assist from Sugar Shuffles, who is getting an assist from Arnak, who is unfortunately not getting an assist from anybody behind him. Looks like there's about a 7-second gap between this little peloton and Shaggy. I don't know how Shaggy was able to pull off a 7-second gap like that, but I mean, power to you, Shaggy. And let's see how this all transpires, because I know they want to try and catch up to the race lead, but at some point it's going to become an every man for himself free-for-all for these podium positions, because we do have a 3-way bout for the podium between Stumpy, Sugar Shovels, and Arnax. And I would also like to note that it seems all this cooperation is, I don't know. Leo, you spent quite a bit of time with, you spent quite a bit of time, talking to drivers and, doing this race. Did the drivers happen to give you any insight into how they approached this race?
I mean, I've talked to a few of them, yeah, definitely. I mean, but also a lot of the guys that I know from PhD, and we've done a lot of oval racing, so they know how to work together. And of course, we've also had the dailies like that too, where you work with someone until you don't need them no more. I was gonna say, where Stumpy and Sugar Shuffles and Arnak are, that is actually the perfect position, because you've got one guy pushing behind you and one guy cutting the air in front of you. So Sugar Shuffles has got like the optimal place to be.
Okay. And it would also appear that Fernando and Zilla unlapped themselves from Shaggy. It looks like Shaggy's tires are definitely looking worse for wear. Did he not get a fresh set of tires when he went into the pits?
He did not.
Huh. So do you think tire changing really isn't necessary then for a race like this? Because I mean, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's to be determined. I mean, honestly, the tire change doesn't take too terribly long. It's the fuel that takes forever. So, if it's me, I would get a fresh set of rubber, but that's my personal approach. And we all know Shaggy loves to run those things down as far as he can go. He gets his money's worth out of those tires.
Yeah, he sure does. I'm pretty sure racing tires are stupid expensive. So, yeah, I guess every little marble counts on those things. So as we jump over to Arnax, who is about a quarter of a second behind Sugar Shovel, isn't able to contribute to any bump drafting chicanery at the moment, as the sun is also starting to set a teensy bit over on the east coast side of Florida. Arnax he might be able to pull off an overtake if things go right, but jumping back onto the strategy, Leo, when you were doing practice, did you see anybody run the mediums?
I didn't, honestly. I pretty much only saw the hard. So I guess everybody decided this long race, it's not worth it, because when you run either the softs, mediums, and all that stuff, they're about the same speed if you stay in the slip.
Okay.
And that makes no sense. But you got someone pulling you along, and it's honestly, they can keep up with the softs on the hard.
Yeah, you're right. It does make no sense. It's oval racing, so nothing makes sense to me. It's Friday. It's been a long work week for everybody. So does anything really make sense right now? We're just here to watch cars go through them.
And make left turns.
And make left turns.
I will tell you that doing some of the practice, I did see a couple guys running medium stints that were changing tires. Arnax being one of them, actually. Him and I were in a race. We ended up, both of us ran out of fuel crossing the finish line. So him and I were apparently on pretty much the exact same squad.
Okay, well, speaking of running out of fuel coming across the finish line, does that mean we might have a GT7 version of the Piston Cup finish from Cars? We'll have three across the line. One will run out of fuel, or like three of them, and they'll just be trying to like hobble across as fast as humanly possible. Like, will we see something like that?
I think we could.
Definitely could. All right. Well, it looks like Fredbird and Krulub are definitely giving it everything they can. They've got quite the deficit, but they could still try and make up some positionings if they play this correctly. And Corridor is still holding on to that fastest lap. That 49.799, yeah, that's incredible. Just don't know if anybody can make a last hurrah that's outside of any pack at the moment, because we got Stumpy ahead of Sugar Shuffles at the moment, and I'm saying at the moment because well, that is subject to change. Anything can happen, anything will happen. And I'm also noticing that Stumpy's tires are not looking too hot. We're definitely on the closing laps, but I don't know. Just the way they redid the tire model, I am a little put at a sense of unease from looking at how low that tire is, because it's just with a cold track, no grip, and you're already carrying so much speed that the slightest nudge could throw you off. I don't know. But a firm smack on the behind to Stumpy from Sugar Shuffles, propelling him forward a little bit. That gap to Shaggy is getting smaller, but I don't know if it will close fast enough to turn it into a four-way bout for the race victory. So as the fuel light comes on as we enter the penultimate lap, will Stumpy have enough fuel to cross the finish line?
It's going to be close. I don't either.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to wait and see then. All right.
Just keep remembering the Ford versus Ferrari at this point. You know, it's 7,000 like hell.
Yep, I remember that. Unfortunately, I don't know how many RPMs this car can actually go because, well, we can't see it. And also, you know, the more you rev the car out, the more fuel you're burning as Sugar Shuffle's fuel light is on. So, okay, so we got two drivers with a fuel light on. That's a little unnerving. But Sugar Shuffle's is definitely staying right on Stumpy's toe as we've got a yellow flag. Slow-mo, what happened there?
You know, I didn't see anything. I had the camera on Shaggy here. I was kind of watching him. I didn't see what happened. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Let's see here, and looks like
I think it was Zilla. Yeah, I think it was Zilla as Shaggy's about to finish. Zilla's in 13th currently.
All right, and Shaggy comes across the line to take the race victory, just holding on in terms of fuel and tire. Oh, we've got some action here. They lost a position to Ardax.
Ardax stuck in second place. Holy cow, what a finish.
Okay, great finish there. Oh, well done. That was definitely a buzzer beater.
Yeah, dude, like I said, it's going to come down to who's going to work with who until the end.
Yeah, it looks like the cooperation did pay off as we've got everybody really starting to come across the line now. Fernando with a 1.5. You know what? Okay. Fernando coming across the line with a 1.5 second penalty.
Yeah,
and
he doesn't have damage or anything.
No, but he does have no fuel.
Wow, what a finish.
Yeah, what a finish. So congratulations to Shaggy Doo for that insane race finish. Let's go and take a look at the provisional results, shall we? So taking the race victory will be PHG Shaggy Doo 88 with a total race time of 30 minutes, 33 seconds, 0.733. Followed by Arnax coming in about 5 seconds behind him. And luckily he had his bump draft teammate Stumpy right there in P3, who unfortunately had ran out of fuel coming across the line, which allowed Arnax that last second hurrah. Followed by Sugar Shuffles with Corridor rounding out our top 5. Corridor, I might add, held on to the fastest lap the entire race with a 49.799. Don't know how he managed it, but good God, what a lap. Making our way down the order, we have PHG Mr. Ormond, followed by Beef Castle, Krulov 11, Angry Fredbird in P9 on the two-stop strategy, followed by Jesser, followed by BHR Fernando Button with a confusing 2-second penalty. And then we had Strick9 and Arsarzilla rounding out our racers for this Division B race. It was definitely more action-packed than what I had anticipated. Leo, what do you think of what we just saw?
Well, I mean, we saw a couple of big ones. First, within the first 10 laps, it was going to happen. But then after that, I mean, everybody settled down. They started working together as best they can. I'm very pleased on how it turned out. Glad these guys didn't go nuts on each other like I thought they were going to.
All right, good to know. Slomo, what are your thoughts on what we witnessed, especially because you had the second eye in the sky?
That was an
Slomo?
excellent race. Excellent race with all that strategy that came together here. Like we talked about before the race, there was a bunch of different options these guys took. So you saw 2 stops, you saw 1 stops. I don't know that Shaggy pit. I might be wrong there, but he might have done a no stop there. So well done by all those drivers. That was exciting.
Oh, wait, hold. No, he had to have pit. There's no way you could do a no stopper.
We'll get to ask.
Yeah, we'll get to ask. We'll get that figured out. Luckily, Shaggy is a huge NASCAR fan, so we've got we can definitely pick his brain on this one. But yeah, that was definitely a race that I just couldn't make heads or tails on. But yeah, that was a good matchup for all of the Division B drivers. And I also do want to quickly give a thank you to Santa Miguel for the $4.99, saying GG's. Thank you for the charitable donation, Santa Miguel. The support is very much appreciated by all of us here in the NRL. So let's get on into our race interviews, shall we? We're going to start with Stumpy. Stumpy,
Hey,
how are you? Not a whole lot. How are you feeling right now?
pretty good actually. Other than running short on the last 10 feet of the race, felt pretty good to get a podium.
All right, glad to hear it. So, what were your thoughts when you saw this car and track combination announced last week?
Well, before the BOP update, I was thinking, they were getting up there a little bit more in the speed, and after the update, it just seemed like everything slowed down, everything got heavier. So I thought it might have been a little bit more of a boring race, but as you saw what happened, there was a lot of action there.
Yeah, there was definitely a solid amount of action, especially as the race had kicked off. Slomo, do you have any questions?
First of all, Stumpy, congratulations on the podium finish. Well executed plan there. Tell us a little bit about going into the race. What lap did you want to pit? Did that work out the way you expected to?
I had to just stay up with the front pack, and me, Shaggy, and Sugar Shuffles got out in front in the after all the wrecks, and once I ran out of gas for the pit, I had to get in there and I had to time it just right to get out there. And luckily, Sugar Shuffles was able to catch up because I was just falling back with no one to drive with. So it was good to get that timing just right.
Yeah, it can be lonely out there by yourself in a race like this, can it?
Yeah, definitely.
Well done, Leo. What do you have for Stumpy?
Well, congratulations, Stumpy. I guess my question would be like, did you happen to practice with any of these guys beforehand with all that, or did you
I
just
did
pick
not
someone and go, "I'm gonna work with you"?
Yeah, no, I just had to find someone to work with, and I had to pick my spots as they came, and I guess I did something right tonight.
Indeed, you did. Yeah, that was exciting. Unfortunate you ran out of gas 10 feet before the line, but at least it wasn't 100 feet.
Right.
Well, thank you, Stumpy. Congratulations on the solid P3 and giving us a very adrenaline pumping finish to the race. You enjoy the rest of the evening, and hopefully you're going to be waiting on the edge of your seat to see what round 2 will be.
Oh yeah, I'm ready. Thank you,
Happy
guys.
to hear it. Thank you, sir. Have a good night.
You too.
All right. let's go and move on over to our race victor, PHG Shaggy Do 88. Shaggy, how you feeling after that one?
I did everything I wanted to do. I accomplished every goal in that one. Even had RJ behind me, and that was pretty much, what we talked about. Like, hey, let's get together and see what we can do with this thing. Like, we can get to the front, control the race, which I did because I don't know if y'all could tell, but I was on fuel map 2 for like 99% of that race.
Couldn't tell, but we knew you were fuel mapping.
Yeah, I had enough for 19 and a half laps when I pit, but I'd already told them to pit about 18. That way we'd be on the same cycle. And the more you saved in that first stint, the further you're going to be ahead. And obviously that paid off because I found the lap traffic. Got to kind of nestle up behind them. Not too close, though. They were having their own little battle. I was going to let them do their thing. Plus, I wasn't doing anything myself. I might as well, watch action from some other driver. But
all right, that's fair. Yeah, I gotcha. So let's get into the nitty gritty here. How did you fine tune your downforce for this one?
The minimum, none at all, to get the max top end, I guess. Which running solo, since they changed it with the update, I think it was like 175 or not 75, 165. I don't know. It was a lot lower. The entire lap time was down less than a second. It lost a second on the update.
Huh. All right, I gotcha. All right, Slemo, any questions for the resident alien of PHG?
Yeah, Shaggy, congratulations. We were actually, for a minute, I wasn't sure if you did pit. So you made that look super easy. Obviously, you said you were running fuel map 2. I'm guessing you didn't take tires either, right? Was that part of your time saving strategy?
Yeah, I had practice, and you probably save a few seconds. But it's Daytona. You pit just for fuel, or for how that fuel was set up. You're gonna lose almost a lap. I think it was like 40 seconds that you were gonna lose having to fully fill up the tank, and that's without the tires. And I wanted to be ahead of everybody. I wanted to be pushed. If I was gonna be ahead and they were gonna catch up, like luckily I had the lap cars at the end there. Otherwise, they probably would have caught me, and then I would have had to defend a lot more. But I'm happy about that, and I kept my distance on the lap traffic because I wasn't too sure what was going on with that because it was a little choppy in the race. Like people were, and they were very choppy. So I did enough just to keep the draft ahead and keep the distance on the guys behind me about the same, about 6 seconds or so, for like 20 laps. It felt like.
Yeah, that looked like it worked out as well as it could have. Obviously, again, congratulations on the first place victory. Well done. Leo.
Well, congratulations, Shaggy. It's always fun to see you out there. And also at Daytona, we've ran, I don't know how many oval races with Papa and everything. How much practice did you end up putting into this since we have done so many Daytona tri-oval races?
I did 2 whole practice runs just running solo to check the times, to check what the downforce would do if you raised it or if you lowered it all the way, if it would have that much of an effect on fuel. I put a lot of practice into it, surprisingly, for an oval. People don't think that you really have to try that hard on an oval. You just get in there and run. But when it comes to a fuel-saving race, which thankfully I don't have to short shift, I can just go. It's not a problem to save fuel. Just change the fuel maps. And when I was behind some, I was on fuel map 2, and at the end I was on fuel map 3 behind the lap traffic, just cruising.
Well, so again, congratulations.
3 or 4 whole races, yeah.
All right. Yeah, congrats on the race victory, Shaggy. Well earned. It looks like you put a ton of thought and effort into how you're going to approach this, and can't wait to see what the 5th season has in store for you. So you go rest, relax, and enjoy the race, and hopefully you're excited to see what you'll be dealing with in round 2.
Yeah, I can't wait to go back and watch y'all. I know y'all probably were killing it, as usual.
Oh, we'll have to see.
It's like, yeah.
We do our best.
Right. I'm sure y'all were great.
Thanks, Shaggy.
Thanks, man.
And
all right.
another thing. Thank you, McNaughty, for another season of awesome combos. Hopefully, all awesome combos.
All right. And with that being said, yeah. Have a good night, Shaggy. And to all of you watching at home, please feel free to go grab a snack, take your dog out, go to the bathroom, do whatever it is you need as we take a short intermission. And when we come back, we'll have the standings for Division B and also the Division A race. So yeah, sit tight. Welcome back, everyone, to round one of the NRL's 5th season, brought to you by Hankey's Tavern and Little J CPA. We had quite the race for Division B, and we hope you're all as ready as we are for the Division A race. But before we get into that, let's go and take a look at our Division B standings. Alrighty, after a very dominant showing by PHG Shaggy Do 88, he walks away with a whopping 25 points to propel him to the top of Division B so far, followed by Arnax, who was able to get that last second overtake on Stumpy, who walked away with 15 points. Making our way down the order, we've got Sugar Shuffles with 12, Cordo with 11, because he did get the extra point for fastest lap, followed by PHG Mr. Ormond, Beef Castle, Krulov, Angry Fredbird, Jesser, BHR Fernando Button, Strychnine, Zilla, and Z48 Car all walking away with a 4-way tie for P11. And remember, this is only round one. We still have 2 more rounds of racing to go, so it's still anybody's game. 0 points does not mean you're knocked out of the finals. Anything can happen and anything will happen. But with that, let's go and take a look at the race details for Division A. All right, so for our Division A race, we are at Dragon Trail Seaside Reverse, so Death Chicane in, well, reversed, however that's pronounced, for 17 laps, and God's Gift to Humanity, the Aston Martin V12 Vantage GT3 2012. They will have a 10-minute qualifier with racing mediums and racing softs available, no required tires. They will have a 3 times tire wear, 3 times fuel consumption. They will have brake balance allowed. It will be a grid start with a false start check, and it will be heavy mechanical damage. And on a track like this, that is definitely that's definitely a little bone chilling, because this is a very, very dangerous circuit, no matter the configuration. And making our way on over to the point spread, we will leave you in the trusty hands of our dear Slow-Mo to remind you all how it works. Slow-Mo?
Thank you, Toon. And as you kind of saw with our Division B drivers, so the race winner is going to get 25 points. Second place gets 18. Third place is 15. It goes on down the line from there. The person with the fastest lap is going to have an additional point added to their total if they have a total. I guess it's possible the fastest lap could be somebody that doesn't get points and they'd end up with one that way. So the top 14 drivers, they're trying to basically accumulate as many points as they can in these 3 rounds to move on to their finals.
Thank you very much, Slow-Mo. And moving on over to the driver lineup, we have Alicos 1, Bobagito CBR, Chief Apollo 11, The Truth Serum, Dark and Azrael, Deputy Fishtail, Lagtastics, PHG Fast Cougar QC, PHG Jorge Sr., PHG Papa, PHG Rick Shear, RSR Ace R1, Subi 15, and Talon. Again, listed under their names are their team affiliations or free agency, whichever is applicable, and also their social media presences on YouTube and or Twitch if those are applicable. Feel free to go and take a look and see if any of these drivers are streaming and pop in and say hi, but please make sure to leave this tab unmuted so you don't miss out on any of the racing action. Aston Martin, British excellence. The Bond car, just an overall beautiful machine. I for one am very happy about this because I also do enjoy Dragon Trail Seaside Reverse. The forward layout is it's there. We all know how that song and dance goes. But Leo, your thoughts on the combo? What are you expecting?
Yeah, Toon. I haven't driven this car in a while since me and you were doing some testing a long time ago. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to test this combo throughout the week. I have seen people doing it on their streams, and pre-update, this thing was hard to control, like you've always told me. after, it's been a little bit better. So I'm curious to see on how that affected it.
All right, fair enough. Slummo, what are your thoughts on this combo? You got any predictions for what we're going to see this race?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to see some of these guys trying to be very patient at the beginning of the race. It can be very easy to make a costly mistake on this track. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see some tentative driving in the beginning, just trying to keep yourself in it. The car itself is so much fun. So, before, after the BOP update, it was a little slippery before. It is a little bit more stable now. So that's probably going to play into how these guys approach this race today. I'll be really curious to see what type of tire strategies we get and, how long these guys are in the pits filling up.
All right, fair enough. And it looks like qualifying is underway. For those of you watching at home, first off, good evening. Pleasure to have your company. If you want, feel free to run a tally on how many the Death Chicane claim in this race, or just make a guess. We'll see if you're right by the end of the broadcast. As we jump on board with Rick Shear, who is leading the charge right now on his outlap, and is really rocking it. Look at that. Actually, that's a very nice livery, too. Got the Hanky's Tavern logo, sponsor of the NRL. Got Papa over there, because PHG. And we got McNaughty on the side of the car, so show him a little love for the mastermind behind this lead. Rick Shear is part of Team Papa Chicane on the Fanatec DD Pro and qualified in P5 overall. So an outstanding qualifier, so I have high expectations for Rick Shear as he's starting to make his way over to the S's, to the tail end of this lap. Well, I guess S's really isn't the best term. It's more of a chicane, isn't it, Leo? Or would it be more of just an S's?
It's in this configuration, it is more of a chicane than anything. That downhill really does throw everybody off, though. I know when I've done this track, it frustrated me to no end.
Okay. And as we jump on board with Rick Shear, who's coming into the downhill braking zone for turn one, holding a tight line and just easing on that throttle because, well, as somebody who has driven this Aston since I started playing, there is no too understeering or there's no middle ground with this. Either it's going to understeer or it's going to try and kill you. And speaking of which, Rick Shear's tail end starts to slide out a little bit as he comes on in for the uphill left-hander. Looks like he's holding on to it just fine. These Division A drivers, they're going to be, they're really going to be pushing this thing to the limits, and I'm going to be paying very close attention to how they drive because I might learn how to drive this car a little better and get out of B. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Looks like Rick is just bouncing from curb to curb right now. Very well done. Really getting into a rhythm with this car, and he's making it look easy. Coming into the next braking zone, getting on the curb, and yep, easy does. And off he goes. And now these guys will have a bit of an interesting time with this because it is a night race, so this track is not exactly the warmest. So those pit stops and getting those lukewarm tires, it's going to be interesting to see. And I will throw out that curve that we saw Rick Shear on when he left the S's. Take that long, that car will spin. So a word of caution for the driver should they be listening. As Rick Shear comes across the line with a 140 and the Truth Serum comes in with a 143.49. So at the moment, Truth will have the podium, and never mind, Chief Apollo already took it. But Truth Serum is part of Team Sector 7 Racing, driving on the Fanatec podium hardware, and qualified in P7 as he comes up to the Death Chicane. Oh, that does not look pleasant in cockpit view. I wish to send my condolences to any VR drivers right now.
Junior, looks like Jorge Sr. went ahead and took pole so far with a 139.795.
All right, so looks like everybody's kind of getting their shots off, and we're going to see how this pans out. Jorge coming up. Yep, definitely holding on to P1 in a dual-colored livery. Like that. Looks nice. Now, Leo, is it me or is Seaside just a naturally slippy track?
It does seem pretty slippery, no matter what time of day it is. But it does have a nice flow to it, though, so it makes it not the worst. I do find it very slippery, especially on the curves. If you go over them long, like you said, going towards these S's that he's going to, it's deadly. You get on top of it, just spin around like a Beyblade.
All right. So I didn't expect Beyblade as an analogy, but all right, I'll take it. So yeah, Jorge Senior part of Team Pops out of the game and driving on the Fanatec DD Plus, also known as the DD Pro, and coming across the line, setting a 139.482. Just finding different ways to, chip off time. So we jump on over to Dark and Azrael in P5, currently sitting at about just slightly over a tenth of a second behind in qualifying from PHE Fast Cougar. Dark and Azrael is part of Team Infinite Octane Racing and just blitzed through the chicane of death. He's driving on the Logitech G Pro wheel and qualified in P10. Yeah, Dark and Azrael is, carrying a little too much speed, but my goodness. Now, I do know that corner that Azrael just left, it's a tricky one. Because if you get it right, you're going to have a great lap. But if you get it wrong, for some reason, it just really kills the momentum you have for the remainder of the lap. Or maybe I don't know, is it a placebo effect, Leo?
No, you're right, too. In this configuration, the chicane of death is not that bad, actually. It's actually more manageable this way than it is the normal way. But that tight left-hander going on to this long sort of S kind of thing, turns, we're doing, that one does make or break it, because that's a long stretch of road. So if you happen to take that wrong, yeah, it takes most of your time out.
All right. I do also want to make special note that as we were in break, we got another $10 donation from TK, so thank you, TKs. You can also catch TKs on the Saturday broadcast where he commentates with Flaw Genius Gaming and S7R's Tati, so make sure you tune in tomorrow and thank him for his support. And we also have a $20 Canadian donation from Arnax that states, "Can't wait to watch the big boys on that deadly track. Good luck to all. I think they're going to need all the luck they can get. This is the death chicane, and in reverse does not make it the chicane of life, like somebody might have been speculating in the chat." As we jump on board with Bobagito, who is currently trying to set a better lap time. I also wish to commend the drivers leaving the pits for stopping and not impeding any driver that was coming through. Great show of sportsmanship and wherewithal. Also, Bobagito is definitely earning my pick for this race because it's my favorite car and one of my favorite snacks, Oreos. So, come on, Bobagito. You've earned yourself a friend in a high place. Come on, let's make some magic happen. I got faith in you. It looks like he's going to be trying to get around Papa, who appears to be off the racing. Yeah, that's a nice livery. Looks like Papa is off the racing line at the moment. And he's definitely giving it the best he can. Now, Slomo, as our resident eye in the sky, how's everything looking as you're cycling through? Has anybody been brave enough to try and qualify on the mediums?
No, I'm only seeing soft compounds on the qualifying drivers, so I don't think anybody was quite that brave.
Okay, that's good to know, because there have been times where we've seen drivers accidentally qualify on the wrong tires, or start the race on the wrong tires, or in the case of our commentator Leo, go and do a daily race on the wrong tires because he was practicing for the NRL and then jumped into a Road Atlanta race in the Jag on wet tires. And Bobagito definitely gave everything he had and took second place for his efforts, falling just over a tenth behind Jorge Sr. Luckily, there's still this left. Oh, and Chief Apollo kisses the wall and gets engine damage and back to the box for Chief.
Yikes.
What happened here? So, as we see NRL veteran and free agent Chief Apollo 11 driving on the G-Pro and PSVR. Oh, Lord, on the PSVR. All right, what happened? Got on the curb and... What? I didn't see him hit the wall on that, did you?
Not exactly, but kinda. I mean, the car responded like he did, but it didn't look like he did.
That was
Yeah. All right, and as everybody is on their final lap, this is where we're going to see those last-second miracles happen. So will we see a repeat of the end of qualifying for Division B? Will there be a last-second pole position steal? We'll just have to wait and see as we jump on board with Subi, who is a free agent on the Logitech G Pro wheel. I'm noticing that's a quite popular wheel for these drivers. Qualified P2 overall, and you can find him on YouTube at sue.b15. And it looks like we also got another donation from Digital Rain, $9.99. NRL is greater than the death chicane.
Making it rain.
Oh, yeah. And Subi is rounding out the lap. RSR is doing a spot of rally crossing at the moment. Looks like Subi was able to carry quite a bit of momentum, but will it be enough to take pole position? And we'll have to see. 37, 38, 39. Not quite, unfortunately. I've seen 138 as a common number here, but Jorge Sr. was able to improve on his time to a 139.371. So putting him over 2/10 ahead of Bobagito. Well done to Jorge Sr. As we wait for everybody else to come across the line or the time clock to run out. Yeah, we're already in qualifying. We've already seen one victim of this dreaded chicane. Hopefully, that will be the only time we see that happen. But unfortunately, this is T-side reverse. So, I don't know. Leo, how many times do you expect when we mention the death chicane?
I'm gonna go with a solid 20.
Okay, a little eccentric there, but let's go and take a look at the classified qualifying results. So, starting pole will be Jorge Sr. with a 139.371. Coming in second for qualifying will be Bobagito CBR with a 139.6 dead, which very nice to see. Rounding out our top three for qualifying will be S7R's The True Serum with a 139.808. Followed by Subi 15 and Elicos, rounding out our top five, followed by Chief Apollo 11, PHG's Rick Shear, PHG Fast Cougar QC, Talon, Dark and Azrael, rounding out our top 10, RSR Ace R1, Deputy Fishtail, Lactastics, and PHG Papa with a 141.325. So, all things considered, it's a close grid. No deficit over 2 seconds. So yeah, we're definitely in for a treat on this one. Slummo, what'd you think of the qualifier?
Oh man, I thought that was great. A 139.3, that is really fast around here. We had 4 drivers that were under, actually 5 that were under the 140 mark. These guys have got some really exceptional pace. We're going to see some good racing.
Oh, without a doubt. What about you, Leo? What'd you think about what we saw?
All these guys have practiced as much as I think they have. They definitely put their time in for it to only be, a second between each time or deficit. So, I mean, kudos to them. They're not dying that much in the death chicane. That's all I can say, because I personally would have died about 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I definitely would not have done as favorably as these drivers have, but all in all, good qualifier, and I can't wait to see how the race stacks up, especially because it's going to be the grid start with false start check, proper race starts. And so it's going to be cold tires, cold track, for some reason, uncharacteristically slippery track. So, yeah. this is going to be interesting. As we hear the engine starting to rev, I think we saw somebody flashing their lights in excitement. And as the lights are on, this is round 1, Division A of the NRL's 5th season, and they are off. Everybody getting a good start. Nobody jumped the line, and we've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 abreast on the start. Good Lord, people, we just started. All right, looks like Jorge Sr. will be leading the charge at the moment, and he's got a pack of hungry sharks right behind him, but looks like he's able to start pulling away. As we go through the death chicane for the first time, how is this going to shape up? Jorge makes it cleanly, and looks like no drama to be had so far.
A little bit of drama.
A little bit of drama. What happened?
Chief Apollo seemed to get caught up, and I think Alsus did as well.
Ooh, we'll have to go and take a look at the replay. So, jumping on board with Chief Apollo 11, 3 abreast. Alcos, Rick Shear, what happens here? Oh, just understeered off.
Oh, got Alcos as well. Ooh. Oh, yikes.
That was, what, about 3? He got the back tires off the ground on that one. Huh. Neat. Unfortunate, but neat. I didn't know you could do that. So as we jump back on board with Bobagito, that would be, what, 3 victims of the chicane so far?
3 notches on that one.
Yep, Leo might be right. I don't know, we'll have to see. But looks like Bobagito is staying as close to Jorge Sr. as possible, so hats off to all the drivers that were able to get through that unscathed, because that is no easy task. It looks like we've also got Subi and Truth trying to close that gap to Bobagito. So yeah, we're definitely in for a treat here. So coming on into the braking zone, how is this going to fare? Anybody outbrake themselves? Nope. And I gotta say, Truth has a very nice livery on that Aston. I mean, it is a beautiful car regardless, and it can do no wrong. But I don't know. I just like the livery that he's got going on for this. Coming up into the chicane. Ooh, getting very close to the wall on that one. But avoiding any unnecessary damage, getting a little squirrely coming across the curbing, but was able to maintain it. And coming into arguably one of the trickier corners in Gran Turismo. It looks like people are able to get through just fine. I would love to know how they managed to nail that corner, because I am so inconsistent on it. How about you, Leo?
Same tune. It's either I go in too sharply or come out too wide, and I just never get it right. The very awkward corner going to it as well. You go into it, you're like, okay, I'm gonna go narrow this time, and then you clumsily go through it, and you're like, oh, that didn't feel any better. You go wide, same situation. So for these guys to nail it every time, that's crazy to me.
Oh, it seems we had a yellow on the field. That was interesting. Slow-mo, would you happen to have known what caused that?
Yeah, something happened to True Serum. He's actually down to 13th place. I want to say he was in 3rd or 4th when it happened. So he's on the mediums. I don't know if maybe he just lost traction going over one of those curbs or what happened.
Yep, I tried to warn them. Those curbs will cause that thing to spin out. Unfortunately,
there it is.
Unfortunately,
he was off the curb in the grass, I think.
May have, but I don't know. I guess Truth had lost the lottery on that one, but luckily there's still 14 laps of racing action. So anything can happen, anything will happen. And I'm sure Truth will be able to bounce back just fine. As we jump on board with Talon, the self-proclaimed, on the wall, but no damage. Well done there. But yeah, as we jump on board with Talon, the man who is always in first place, you guys just don't realize it yet. Talon is a free agent leader of the free agent racing team, from what I can gather. Driving on the Logitech G Pro wheel on the G29 pedals. Very bold move. Those pedals are not the best. And qualified overall in P8. And it looks like Talon might be able to line himself up for an overtake on Lagtastics, but not at this moment. Those tires are definitely screaming a little bit. I also see that Talon's on the mediums. Slow-mo, at your earliest convenience, can you tell us how many people chose the mediums?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got Rick Shear. We have Callan. Who's the other one? Truth. And then Chief Apollo.
Okay.
So four drivers total.
4 drivers total. Okay, so they might have some sort of advantage later on in the race. Lactastics is part of Team Infinite Octane Racing on the Crossmaster T598, qualified overall in P12, and you can find him on YouTube at Smack Attack Mac, all one word. It also appears he does have some front bumper and left wheel damage. Don't know what caused that, and was it the chicane? Who knows? Probably. Now, as we see them come through the most dangerous part of this circuit again, and looks like everything is, everything's fine. Ooh, there's some tire squeal on that one.
Yeah.
Right, jumping on with Fast Cougar, who is currently sitting in P11 at the moment, rocking the PHG Elite livery. Wait a second. Leo, are those the Elite colors?
That's a good question. I don't remember offhand. Maybe personal preference he took into consideration.
Maybe. Either way, PHG Fast Cougar is part of Team Papa's House Game on the Fanatec DD Pro, qualified overall in P9. And Fast Cougar is definitely trying to haul hind end there and trying to catch up to the rest of the grid. We've got 13 laps left, and we've already had quite a bit of shenanigans, if I do say so myself. Also want to throw out that Bo Bagito at the moment has the fastest lap with a 1:39.678. And now, I'm curious, Leo, did you happen to get any insight from the drivers on this race?
Just one in particular, and that would be Papa. He popped in to a call I was in and had a little chat before earlier. He was trying to figure out a strategy, which one would work the best, as we see like a couple of these people, or about 4 of them, have gone with the mediums. So I think those medium guys are going to try to fuel save. He wants to go all out, so he's going to stay on the softs pit and go all the way to the end that way.
All right, we'll just have to wait and see how it shakes up for Papa, as we've got a nice 3-way battle right here for P4 between Rick Shear, Fishtail, and Azrael. They're all really right up each other's chuffs. Gap between all 3 of them has to be, I don't know, probably about half a second at the moment. So, yeah, they're really close. It looks like Rick Shear was able to chip away at his personal fastest lap. So well done there. And it looks like he might actually carry enough speed to start pulling away from Deputy Fishtail and Azrael. But will it last? That we'll have to wait and see, because this is I don't know, I'd say this is a pretty technical circuit. Wouldn't you agree on that one, Slavo?
Oh, very much so. Like I said earlier, there is a lot of opportunity for mistake here. You really have to be cautious about, how you're applying that throttle coming out of turns, and, how you're getting back on that gas, because this car can just slip right out from underneath you.
All right, and as we jump over to Lagtastics in the 777 Infinite Octane Racing livery, very nice. Looks like he's about half a second behind Talon at the moment, but he does have a pretty solid lead over Truth at this current juncture as he comes into the chicane for the 6th time of asking. Makes it away unscathed. You love to see it, folks. And, Leo, refresh my memory. Isn't there a track limit somewhere in that chicane if you take it wrong?
I believe if you go over, not the first part of the chicane, but the second part, if you go over the inner curb, I believe, if you go over that too much with the car, that is track limit.
Okay. Well, as we jump on board with RSR Ace, who is about just a little under a quarter second behind Papa. He's part of Team Real Squad Racing using the Moza R12, followed by P14 overall, and you can find him on YouTube at Acer1000, another Moza R12. I like that. Glad to see some representation from Moza. I've heard they're very good wheels. I do have to say, Papa's got a really interesting livery on his car. Didn't really expect that one from him, so yeah. This week's full of surprises. Honestly, a lot of unpredictable stuff, so I don't know, I'm quite satisfied. I'm just enjoying watching this magnificent machine go around this pretty fun circuit. I'm not gonna lie, this is fun. It can be, infuriating, but it's still fun, especially when you get into a rhythm. Now into the passenger cam with Rick Shear going through that chicane. God, I do not know how VR drivers can go through that chicane in VR. I'd be like white knuckling my wheel and everything. I just could not do it. How about you, Slomo? Would you be able to do it?
Me and VR don't mix very well, but that in-car cam going through the chicane, that's a rush, buddy.
Yeah, that will put some hair on your chest. Leo, could you do it in VR?
No, no. I've tried VR a couple of times, and with my glasses and everything else, I can't do it. It'd be almost like on a motion ride, and I do okay with those, but with the VR goggles, no.
Huh, okay. Ooh, Jorge getting a little squirrely on that curve, but was able to hold on to it and therefore hold on to the lead. He's got about a 2-second gap right now between himself and Bogagito. And will he be able to get a new fastest lap for the race? Not quite this time. So Bogagito will hold on to the potential for a bonus point for fastest lap for the time being. But it looks like Jorge's tires are starting to wear down just a teensy bit. Did either of you happen to jump into any practice lobbies over the course of the week, starting with you, Leo?
Unfortunately not, dude. I tried a little while ago before the racing kicked off, and I just missed somebody's lobby.
All right. Slow-mo, were you able to get into a lobby for this?
No, actually, I think some of these guys were keeping some of their strats pretty close to the chest this week. I wasn't able to find anybody with open lobbies. I did run some solo stuff, but I was almost begging to try and find a lobby. I just love this track, so I wanted to run with these guys. Didn't get a chance to.
All right. Well, I was going to just ask if there was a potential for a no-stopper in this, and if so, what would be the big focus here? Tires or fuel, or even both? Well, Chief Paula coming through the chicane, held on to it just fine. Great work. As Elco's, good.
To answer your question, I did talk to Subi a little bit, and I think it is a possibility. They would have to be mediums, and there would be some fuel saving in there, but I haven't seen it done personally.
Huh, okay. I wish I had been able to, get in touch with somebody who had been doing all this practice, because I would have loved to have known how much that BOP change that they did yesterday, messed up everybody's strategy for this race, because it did make the car slower. But I guess we'll only have to speculate. And it looks like we've got quite the plethora of drivers going into the pits right now. Looks like they're doing mainly tires from what I've seen. Keeping an eye to see if we've got, actually got a little bit of fuel too. All right, and it looks like people are doing a double stint on softs. Fair, makes sense. We jump on over with Papa coming out of the pits in a Monster Energy livery. Yep, Monster Energy. All right, cool. Kind of wish somebody would put "This is for you" tune on a windshield banner or something. I don't know. Either way, looking at the driver card, PhD Papa is the owner and the proprietor. There's the customary use of that word. of Papa's House of Game. He is on the Fanatec CSL Elite, qualified overall in P6, and you can find him live on YouTube right now at Papa's House of Game, all one word. If you do pop over, tell him we said hi, but please make sure to leave this tab unmuted so you don't miss anything that might happen in the relatively near future. Jumped on board with Subi, who looks like might be doing an overcut with Bobagito at the moment. Both on soft, but still have plenty of fuel. Are they going to ride these tires out any further? No, I guess not. So we'll jump on over to our leader of the medium runners in Rick Shear, who is staying out. But looks like he's also got a very angry and a very hungry Jorge Sr. Coming up pretty quickly. The difference in tire life between those mediums and those softs is ridiculous. Those soft runners were running about, what, half tire life? And Rick Shear on the mediums is not even a quarter of the way dead? Like, that is just insane. But coming into the death chicane, looks like Jorge Sr. will be able to hold on just fine and is closing that gap quite handily as he goes purple through the first time check. So well done to you, Jorge. Let's see if the momentum can be carried and you can get the potential for the fastest lap point. And moving over to Bobagito in the Oreo machine. Currently sitting in P4, about a little over a quarter of a second behind Talon. He's got about a half-second gap between himself and Truth at the moment. Getting a teensy bit squirrely from what I see, dabbing the brakes a little bit. And getting into a bit of an ebb and a flow and carrying quite a bit of momentum, all things considered. He does have the outside line comparatively to Talon, so will he be able to hold on to this with holding on to the outside? And he does. Well done to Bobagito, making that overtake on the outside stick. Also, a quick thank you to Jimmy K9 for the $4.99 donation. Boba, boba, boba. Now I want to go get me some boba tea, but I think all the places around me are closed, so I will have to go and do that tomorrow. I digress. Bobagito was able to jump on up into P3. It looks like he's actually pulled away from Talon at the moment, and Truth was able to catapult up into P5. Glad to see him making some strides after the unfortunate start to the race earlier. And will he be able to make an overtake on the inside on Talon? No, it does not quite appear to be the case. And so we'll just have to wait and see how this trip to everybody's favorite chicane shakes up as Truth lines up for a shot on the inside, but backs out wisely, mind you. And it looks like no drama to speak of, so looks like Truth will have to find another opportunity to overtake at another point in the track. Coming in through the tricky bit, and looks like nobody really gaining an advantage on there, which, you know, that's fine. You know, glad to see it. Leo, as we've seen such close racing and such close racing through the chicane, can you tell me any time in a daily race that being right up on somebody going into that, no matter the layout, has gone well for you? Because whenever I've done it, does not go well. I've literally had people brake check me in the middle of the chicane.
Yeah, I've had the same thing too. I've tried to follow someone in there, and they've either gone slower or faster, and completely threw me off what they did, and into the walls I go, or I accidentally hit them. So I usually just try to back off before that chicane and try to get there through there as peacefully as possible.
All right, I got you. Now, I do want to ask you something. Since you did your homework on, you know, the GT LM race car, what homework did you do on my Aston?
I thought you had the homework down.
Oh, for the love of God.
No,
all right,
it's a V12.
Yeah.
And essentially a Gran Touring car. An actual car, and also a real race car in real life that runs in, what, all the above for Group 3, Group 4 kind of racing?
I know there is there's a GT3 Aston in IMSA, there's a GT3 Aston and SRO, which is also known as GT World Challenge. So I think Heart of Racing is the primary, it still is primarily the ones who race the Astons, but during the Bathurst 12 hour, we had Heart of Racing running an AMG. So why would you go to AMG? I don't know, but they still have the Aston. So, I mean, at least McNaughty can know he's in good company with having a solid race team representing the AMG along with the Aston Martin. So do with that information as you will. But yeah, it's a V12. For some reason, I thought they had retired the V12, but they're still making that thing. Like, they're still making that engine from what I can gather. I don't know how it works. All I know is it sounds good. It goes in a good-looking car. Leo, what can you tell me about a V12?
Well, essentially it's a V12. Hold on. I had to count all the cylinders. There's 12 of them. Essentially, I believe it's a dual overhead cam V12, so there's 6 cylinders on each bank of the engine, timing chains and all that stuff, so it can rev pretty high, as we can see and hear. That's why it gives it that amazing tone that you love. Not super high because it is a larger displacement engine. I would want to say it's either a 6.7 liter or something like that. I don't know cubic inches off the top of my head, people, so sorry, I go by liters.
Who goes off cubic inches?
Old race car guys. I found out. A lot. And they make fun of me every time.
I would say we could ask Papa, but he's racing right now, so I don't know. But honestly, it looks like Subi is setting himself up for a 2-for-1 special with how close he's tailing behind Truth and Talon. I think we might see one good run from Subi equating to 1, if not 2 positions. It looks like coming in through the S's, how are they going to fare? This curve is definitely deceitful, but no drama to be spoken of. All right, you'll love to see it. Well done to all the drivers for keeping that one in check. They jump on board with Bobagito, who is very close to Rick Shear. So we've got this little battle for P2 at the moment. And they've got a sizable gap between themselves and Talon, about, what is that, 6.5-ish seconds ahead of Talon, but they've also got about a 6-second deficit between themselves and Jorge. It's going to be interesting to see how this one shakes up. And hats off to Rick Shear for holding on to P2 on those mediums. Great defensive driving, just great racing. Unfortunately, Bobagito will be jumping up into P2 from a stellar run out of that corner. Yeah, I can't be understated enough. That corner, when you get it right, you get it right. But when you don't, it just, I don't know. But as Subi tries to get the overtake on Talon, how's it gonna shape up? Talon dabbing the brakes, not trusting the ebb and flow of the car. And will Subi be able to make the overtake stick on Talon? It's looking like it at the moment, but he is gonna have to do that very tricky overtake on the outside. And job's a good one. Looks like Subi will hold on to P4 and hopefully he can pull. Oh, and Truth goes rally crossing. Will he get on safely? He does. He sticks the landing. Well done, Truth. But unfortunately, Truth does have dirty tires and cold tires and uncharacteristically damp tires for the track. So that will definitely buy Dark and Azrael the opportunity to make an overtake happen. Will it be here on the start-finish straight? Will it be in turn 1? Anything can happen. Anything will happen. Let's see what will happen. All right, and coming up into turn 1, great defensive maneuver from Truth, but looks like Azrael, nope, was not able to make the overtake stick. Yep, so well done to Truth for very tightly defending his P6 on that one. That was definitely a case of slamming the door shut. So we jump on over to Ace, who is in P9 at the moment, has about a about an 8-second gap between himself and the car in front. See how fortunately we missed the overtake, but looks like a good overtake. Coming in through the chicane with beautiful synchronicity, like synchronized swimmers, just making it look effortless and not completely dangerous and nerve-wracking and one wrong move leading you to the pearly gates. So well done to both drivers there. Coming out of the tricky bit, and looks like nobody really capitalized on that. Maybe it was because Ace was in the slipstream and just did a mirror image of what Alikos said. I'm sorry, I will get your name down eventually. Please forgive me.
P7 Darken Azriel just had a spin out, and it looks like Papa's going to get an overtake done on him. I don't know if we're going to be able to get a replay of that.
We'll have to see. All right,
here comes.
and it looks like we will. Coming out of the tricky bit and into the second downhill. What happened here? Understeer a little bit, and another victim of the curb. Unfortunate, but hey, no damage. So Dark and Azriel got very lucky on that one. It looks like we have another yellow. I don't know if that was from the replay or if there was a yellow on the track itself. As we jump on board with Papa, who's currently sitting comfortably in P7, also known as P Island to some of you. Looks like Azriel may have accidentally left its hazards on, but Papa is currently 10 seconds behind Truth at the moment, so he's in a comfortable position of his own here on the penultimate lap. And coming through the chicane for the second to last time made it look quite simple as we jump on over with Truth, who is just a little under a second behind with Talon at the moment, so there's still plenty of time to try and catch up, but I did just spot that Truth's fuel isn't looking too hot, so he'll definitely have the ability to finish the race with the fuel he's got. It'll be fine. And I see another donation from esteemed broadcast colleague and apparent philanthropist, TKs, for $5. McNaughty with the replay. I mean, this McNaughty works hard to give us all the broadcast we see here, and it shows. So thank you, TKs, for the super chat, and thank you, McNaughty, for all the hard work you do. Here. It looks like,
Indeed.
and looks like Talon is maybe trying to find a way to shake Truth as we go into the last lap. Or maybe that was just a weird wiggle of the car. Hard saying. But this will be the final lap. It's really all the chips are on the table now. So we're going to have to see how this goes as they come across the Nightmare Chicane for the final time. No incident. You'll love to see it. And coming out of the chicane, no drama whatsoever. So who's going to get this corner right? Or who's going to do this corner better, I should say. And it looks like Talon got it slightly better, so well done. Won't have to run the risk of losing any ground to Truth at this current juncture. And I gotta say, these medium runners doing the no stop. Didn't expect it, but well done. Like I did. Okay, and Truth apparently wants to give me some cardiac problems, but he was able to hold on to the car quite handily. Well done there, Truth. Just careful now. But as we jump on board with Jorge Sr., who in dominant fashion will take the race victory, followed by Bobagito in P2 quite handily, and looks like it might be Rick Shear. Yep, Rick Shear Rick Shear is out of gas.
Oh.
And it looks like in Talon's out of gas. Anybody else out of gas?
Whoa, Truth was.
You got an empty gas tank here? Empty gas tank.
Papa's gonna be out.
Yeah, Papa's gonna be out. And goodbye Papa's gas tank. Goodbye Azriel's gas tank. Goodbye Alico's gas. Oh no, he actually has gas. Never mind. All right, Chief still has gas. And Ace probably still has gas. Lactastics. Okay, so I think everybody else still has fuel. So, but Fast Cougar does have some pretty mean damage. As does Fish. Okay.
He lives up to his name.
I guess. I don't know what that was, but hey, it was entertaining. So thank you for that one, Fishtail. But congratulations to Jorge Sr., pole position and a clean race. Let's go take a look at those provisional finishing results, shall we? So, taking the race victory will be PHG's Jorge Sr. and also the fastest lap with a 1:39.493 to go with his total race time of 29 minutes, 47 seconds, .151. Coming in P2 by about 7.5 seconds will be Bobagito in the Oreo Mobile. Rounding out our podium will be Rick Shear coming in about 12 seconds behind with a personal fastest lap of a 1:41.135. The leader of the no stoppers, I might add, coming in P4 will be Subi, followed by Talon rounding out our top 5, with Truth Serum and Papa taking P6 and 7 respectively. Looks like out of those two, Papa had the better personal fastest lap of a 1:45.11. Making our way down the order, we have Dark and Azrael in P8, followed by... I'm going to say this slowly so I get it right. Alicos. Alicos in P9. There we go. Alicos, if you're listening, I am so sorry I keep fumbling your name. Like right now, I am so sorry. Followed by Chief Apollo rounding out our top 10. Making our way down the order, we have RSR Ace R1, followed by Lagtastics, with PHG Fast Cougar and Deputy Fishtail rounding out our racers for this Division A race. All in all, that was a good one. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed seeing my Aston at work. But Leo, we saw the chicane claim some unfortunate souls. What did you think of the race?
Unfortunately, the chicane lived up to its name, as it always does. But honestly, watching them all actually give space going through there and not pushing the envelope on it, yeah, that was actually pretty excellent to see. Can't wait to pick their brains on what they did for the front runners there to see how they managed all that.
All right, fair enough. Slow-mo, with the luxury of being able to see more action that we and the viewers at home aren't privy to, what are your thoughts on what we witnessed?
Well, I think some of the folks that I talked to hit the nail on the head. It was really all about patience, maintaining your car position, keeping yourself on track, under control. We saw a couple slips. We saw a couple issues. So, those guys that really paid attention to, where they were, what they were doing, that made all the difference for them today. The Death Chicken never disappoints.
No, it does not. It's definitely a far from disappointing race. Honestly, any seaside race, I don't think I've ever heard of a boring seaside race in any capacity. Like, there's always just something happening, somebody's crashing, somebody's spinning, and I just can't wait to be able to talk to the podium finishers and kind of get their thoughts on everything that happened. So we're going to kick on over to the interviews. We'll be starting with the leader of the medium runners and Rick Shear. Rick, how are you doing today?
Doing very well. Thank you so much. Whew, I'm buzzing. That was an intense race.
Yeah, so I'm going to just address the elephant in the room. How did you figure out that a no stop on mediums was going to be the play?
Yeah, at the start of the week before the bot change, it didn't seem possible. But, I did a little bit of testing afterwards and realized too with that Aston that a lot of the power is in the lower band of the RPM there. So I could run a nice fuel saving race, and also did some testing with the mediums. The mediums lasted. Made sure to treat those tires really well and just stay out of incidents. There was a huge one right behind me on lap 1, so I'm glad I avoided that. and then just tried to settle down.
All right, I gotcha. Slomo, any questions for our P3 finisher?
Yeah, I mean, very well executed strategy there. You were about a second and a half off the pace. Tell me a little bit about what you were trying to do as Jorge Sr. was closing on you and trying to take that P1 from you.
Exactly, yeah. Like with Bobagito and Jorge, I'm not racing those guys on track. You know, I'm racing against the clock. So, and thankfully they both called me at pretty opportune times where they could make a pass on me without losing too much time. So yeah, just letting those guys going, running my own race, and trying to maximize the result.
Yeah, it was perfect. Congratulations on the podium finish. Leo, what do you have for Rick here?
Hey, Rick. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. How much practice did you go into with going through that chicane with this car and all that stuff?
Yeah, a good bit, particularly earlier in the week. I find the death chicken is it's a little bit easier in reverse, but you know you still got to treat it with lots of respect. So yeah, just being ginger, being cautious, and yeah, it was funny. Yeah, earlier today, I felt like I was so off the pace, particularly in qualifying, and but yeah, found something in the last 30 minutes before the race, just in practice, and yeah, was able to carry that into the race.
Very nicely done. Well, congratulations again.
Thank you, bud. Yeah, and congrats to Bobagito and Jorge.
Yes, congrats, Rick. Hopefully you can, rest and relax, and I hope you're ready to see what you'll be up against in round 2. You have yourself a great rest of your evening.
Thanks, chaps. See ya.
All right, making our way over to our P2 finisher, Cornbread Racing's Bobagito. Bobagito, how you feeling, man?
Hey, thanks. Yeah, a little wore out, but yeah, doing good. I'm glad to get on the podium.
Glad to hear that. You had quite the race. So I'm gonna ask, when you were doing your your practice sessions in the Aston and developing your strategy for the race before Thursday, what were they and how much did they change once that BOP slowed everything in the game down?
Oh yeah, it was quite a big difference. My times were running low 138s, high 137s. I got to the right before the BOP change. I was pretty consistently able to hit 137s in qual practice, and then BOP changed, and well, you saw the times. It was 139, so it was like a almost 2 second difference. So it was pretty substantial.
Oh Lord, did you find the car was easier to handle when they slowed it down?
Uh, I don't know. For me, I was so used to the way it was because I'd practiced all week, so it was kind of tough actually for me to readjust. But once I got used to it, yeah, it was just a little slower, so a little more controllable through the death chicane. I made the comment earlier in the week that might be a little more life through that death chicane. So and it looks like there was maybe a couple accidents, but too bad.
Fair enough. All right, Slomo, any questions for our P2 finisher?
Yeah, Bobagito, congrats. That was a well executed plan you had there. Were you doing anything additional? Were you short shifting the car at all, or I mean, was there anything else besides what we saw on during the race that helped you stay in that time zone you were looking for?
Once Jorge I got out of his kind of range, especially after the pits there. I did just try to maintain, especially keeping on track, keeping some solid times. I knew I had a good position, and I just wanted to kind of maintain in that podium position. I knew once I started catching Rick, I knew he didn't pit, so I knew he was going the long haul. I appreciate him being able to make that wide turn and let me around. So kudos to him. That was pretty sweet, and not lose too much time. But yeah, no, it was just trying to not die in the death chicane was pretty much the strategy. And I do want to give a shout out to Jorge for winning, Rick getting on the podium, Stuvie and other guys that were practicing through the week, and then the CDR team. they couldn't commit because of life and everything for this, but they really supported me and helped me out throughout the week in practicing, and so it was pretty nice.
Yeah, well done. Well done. Leo, what do you have for Bobajito?
Well, congrats, Bobajito. It's good to see you up there. Since you did the 2-stop strategy, did you ever try the 1-stop strategy with the mediums and fuel saving?
Well, so I was practicing with the CBR crew, had a couple of them try it for me, actually. So that was, again, practicing with them, practicing with having a team's a good thing. And I've tried it once, practice race, I think with Jorge, where I got damaged like on the second lap. So I just came in and switched to mediums and see how my pace was. And I was able to make it the whole race without fueling. I did have to short shift a little bit more than usual, but that car, you do have to shift it a little bit before all the way revving it out. So yeah, I tested it once. I was a little off pace. I was probably on Rick Shear's pace. Saved with the soft softs. Yep.
I gotcha. Yeah, because it seemed like towards the end for the medium guys that they couldn't push the car like they wanted to. So what a great call on that. Also have one additional thing. Are all y'all CBR guys just like obsessed with food? Because if y'all don't know, all the CBR guys have liveries of food, and I've got to know.
I could have ran 4 different liveries for this race. I had to pick one that was food. I know you all appreciated it, and we're always hungry. We're always hungry. So.
I definitely see that. Well, congrats again, man.
Yeah, appreciate you all. Thanks for everything. Appreciate the league and the commentating. It's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
That means
thanks
a lot to us. And thank you, and congrats on the P2. And just sit back, relax. Hope you're ready to see what you're up against for round 2 after we come back from this break. So all of you sitting at home, we're going to take one final break, and then we'll take a look at the Division A standings, and we'll see what round 2 has in store for all of us. So sit tight. Welcome back, everybody. We have had quite the eventful night so far. So now it's time we wind everything down and start looking towards the future. But first things first, let's go and give one last special thank you to our sponsors. First of which will be Hankey's Tavern in beautiful St. Louis, Missouri. Thank you for all of your support to the owners of Hankey's for not only sponsoring us, but showing our broadcasts every week to the patrons of your lovely establishment. Hankey's Tavern, if you ain't first, we're open till 1 a.m. And another special thank you to our new sponsor, Little J CPA. If you got taxes that you've been putting off, you're a business owner trying to, get your books balanced out and everything, consider going to Little J CPA. Steer clear of tax troubles with Little J CPA. Now, with all of that being said, let's go and take a look at the Division A standings. Provisional, of course, pending steward review and all that. You guys know how it works at this point. All right, so taking P1 and overall fastest lap in the standings for Division A will be PHG's Jorge Sr. with a resounding 25 points, followed by Bobagito in P2 with 18, Rick Shear rounding out our top three with 15. Making our way down the order, we have Subi 15 with 12, Talon with 10, The True Serum with 8, PHG Papa with 6, Dark and Azrael with 4, Alicos with 2, Chief Apollo with 1, and then a four-way tie for 11th with RSR Ace, Lactastics, PHG Fast Cougar, and Deputy Fishtail all sitting at the moment with nil points. So there's still plenty of racing action to be had. We got 2 more rounds of racing. And speaking of 2 rounds, let's go see what we've got for the second round, starting with our Division B. I know this is one of my favorite parts of the broadcast, so what do we have in store for us? All right, looks like we will be at Kyoto Driving Park. We'll be doing Yamagiwa 21 laps in the Nissan GTR GT500 2008. Interesting group to it. Yamagiwa forward, racing soft, racing mediums available with the racing soft required. 5 times tire, 2 times fuel. Heavy damage, BOP will be on with brake balance allowed, and it'll be a grid star false start check and 10 minutes of qualifier. Leo, Group 2, we haven't seen that since Season 2, have we?
Yeah, we haven't actually. I think that was with the Audis, if I remember correctly.
Audi and also, where I got the livery rule made.
Yeah, and I think we did we do Group 2 at Highway 1?
Actually, I think we did. Yeah, I'm getting more from production. We did.
So, but this is the 08 model though, so it's the older one, not the newer one. So it might be a little different now.
All right. Oh, this is actually the Division A. I thought this was Division B. My apologies.
Oh.
So. Oh, I'm getting word from production that this is actually Division B. Please ignore what it says on the graphic. This is Division B. Slow-mo, what do you think of this combination we got here?
Oh, that's exciting. Time to get the tire tracker together. We're gonna be making sure everybody hits their requirements on that. That's gonna be fun to watch. That there is a lot of opportunity to make passes around there. That's a fun track. So these guys are gonna be flat out.
Yeah, they absolutely, and I definitely see some signs of relief from the Division A drivers. But anyway, let's see if that sigh of relief was premature. Let's go and take a look what Division A has. Oh, good lord! All right, so our top was 16 laps in the pouring rain with the Volkswagen GTI Super Sport VGT. What do we got here? Racing mediums, racing hards, intermediates, and what's available. No required tires. 5 times tire, 2 times fuel. Heavy damage. BOP is off, and there is no tuning. Grid start check, 10 minutes, and I see some of the Division A drivers are not too thrilled that they got this instead. So, Leo, we haven't seen Autopolis since Season 3. What do you... No, Season 2. My apologies. Another nod to Season 2. So...
I'm getting flashbacks.
You are?
Just a little bit. Autopolis in the rain. I'm good. Now, the GTI Super Sport, I haven't even seen that car in this game. So that's a new one for me. So I don't know if that's front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive. If it's front-wheel drive, I will be ecstatic.
Fair enough. Slow-mo, what are your thoughts on what we got here?
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Was this one at night the first time they ran this? I mean, talk about a handful.
Yes.
Man,
Correct.
That track is something. You add the weather, and it is a tricky beast. So these guys are they're going to be putting in some practice here now between now and the time they start that race.
I have a question for production. Is this under Volkswagen? Because I've never seen this car. All right.
It's
All right. I'm getting word from production that it is a Volkswagen car and it's four-wheel drive. So this will be interesting. 16 laps in pouring rain. My condolences. But be sure to tune in tomorrow for the Saturday split of round one, hosted by the ever amazing and gorgeous team of Flaw Genius Gaming, T-Case, and S7R's Tati. Ooh. Well, that's Friday round one in the books. Gentlemen, I say it's time we get out of here. So, for all of you watching at home, thank you all so much for tuning in. It has been an honor and a privilege to have your company this evening. If you want to catch up with any of us out in the wild, you can catch Leo over here on YouTube, where he streams GT and Satisfactory and whatever else tickles his fancy. You can find Slow-Mo over here on YouTube, where he streams GTA's golf, amongst some other things. Definitely check out his golf streams. They are quite entertaining. And you can find me primarily over on Twitch, where I yell and do a lot of things on Baldur's Gate and whatever else I'm feeling. So our channel links or channel names are right there on screen. Feel free to come in, say hi, and until next time, you all stay safe, stay cool or warm wherever you are on the planet, stay well fed, take care of yourself, be good to each other, and we will see you all in 2 weeks for round two. So until then, bye-bye for now.